So welcome to Scandinavian Chemotech's Q&A session, where we aim to answer questions that we have had from our investor community. Today, I'm joined by Danny Nesrallah, who is Head of Business Development in North America for Vetiqure. And Vetiqure, as most of you know, is a subsidiary to Chemotech, focusing on cancer treatment for animals. We have 10 questions for Danny today, but first I was thinking that you, Danny, could introduce yourself and explain how you ended up at Vetiqure.
Perfect. Jonathan, thank you so much for this opportunity. So my name is Danny Nesrallah, born and raised in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And I have been in the electroporation space and field sector, I would say close to almost 2012. I had my own company representing a different brand, a different manufacturer. But unfortunately, when COVID hit, under the clause and agreement that we had with the old manufacturer, they took back the rights to sales and marketing throughout North America. So North America was our territory: Mexico, United States, and Canada. And I was fortunate enough during that time frame to have stayed in contact with the CEO of Chemotech and co-founder, Mr. Mohan Frick. And our paths crossed, I think, through social media right after COVID hit and right after we lost our contract. And one thing led to another. And I was fortunate enough to, again, been given an offer to join the expansion into the North American territory for Vetiqure.
Mm. And when did you start? And you work as a consultant, right? So
that's right. My company was hired as a consultant for Vetiqure to study potential market entry and evaluate the market here in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. So our focus is, at the beginning, pretty much 90% of it was the United States and still is the United States. But be it Canada as my home turf, I'd say 10% of our efforts are also there. We started back we finalized our agreement in Dubai of July of 2021, which was close to a year and a month ago.
Okay. But let me jump into the questions here. We have 10 of them, as I said, and they come from shareholders from different sources. It's partly from people that have emailed us, but also from the Discord group that we have with the shareholders. So it's going to be exciting here.
Sure.
But we go from question number one. From what you have seen of treatment results from Vetiqure, what is different compared to the technology you worked with before?
Well, I've always been a big believer to never discriminate or devaluate any competitors. But if I want to start it off, it's like comparing a Fiat to a Mercedes. The first thing. Second of all, what we're noticing now is less necrosis, a quicker recovery time, much more user-friendly and more portable. Advanced both on the technical and clinical support team. Vetiqure is based on experiences and designs of the IQ Wave, which is our human device for Chemotech, which is being used in human cancer. Vetiqure has been optimized for the standard ESOP and Jove treatment protocols. Our current competitor in the United States is not. Vetiqure does not harm healthy, untreated tissue areas. From my experience, the competitor does. And Vetiqure minimizes the risk of unintentional ablation of tissue and irreversible ECT. More than that, I cannot add, but there is a significant difference in comparison. And I would say the big one here is we are not a catalog company. We are a hands-on company that develops a relationship with our end users and our clients on all levels. And that's literally physical appearance at most of our treatments, like we're experiencing right now here in Florida with one of our accounts.
Number 2, where do you see Vetiqure in 5 years?
To be totally transparent, Jonathan, I can easily say right now that we can hire 100 reps and be a $5 million a year company. But to be very realistic, we can't predict the future. All we can do is listen to a market. We can listen to our KOLs and get the feedback back from them and create a made-to-measure strategic approach. But studies have showed that there is currently 30,000 veterinary clinics in the United States. Approximately 20% of them are specialty clinics that routinely treat some forms of cancer. I believe most of them can quickly adapt to this option when they learn about Vetiqure, and are starting to adapt to that option because the word is getting out. I think in the next 3 years, this can be accomplished with potential national sales force and in collaboration with a strong strategic distributor that we're currently evaluating at this moment. We have been evaluating 3 major distributors here in the United States, and we are now most likely tapering down to one of the biggest. And they're not only present in the US, they're a multinational company, and they're also global. So they have a significant footprint and market share in Europe also. So that's also a potential for Vetiqure on a global perspective. So back to your original question, I see Chemotech in the next 5 years, I'd say our device anywhere between 100 to 300 clinics placed across the United States only in the United States.
Question number 3, what makes you the most qualified person for this job?
I think I'm the only person in North America that first took on the exploratory evaluation of electroporation back in 2012. I visited all our major competitors back in 2013, physically visited them all in their countries at their headquarters. So I have close to 10 years of experience in the ECT sector. Although I started in human ECT, over 25 years of international business development. I have a deep understanding of multinational and multicultural business acumen. Most likely the only individual, again, that I mentioned this, that met with KOLs in the ECT sector, both in oncology and in surgery, on the human side. And that trickled into the veterinary side.
How do you plan to grow and develop Vetiqure? You mentioned distributors, but how do you plan to grow the business going forward?
Jonathan, no company is going to grow without a solid team of experts. And we know from what we've heard over the last 12 months that our route to success is going to align us with DVMs here in the United States that know electroporation well, and that will join our mission and vision in growing TSE across the United States. And that cannot be accomplished without them physically using our Vetiqure device at their clinics. 1. 2, to be able to collaborate with a company that truly understands our mission and our vision. And that is, at the end of the day, pet cancer care and their well-being. So I strongly believe that in the next 30 to 60 days, Vetiqure is going to align itself with, I would say, probably the strongest distributor in North America and throughout Europe.
Describe how you balance finding new customers with retaining existing ones.
Direct mail is 1. Email marketing is 2. Physical clinic visits, of which I do 2 to 3 times a week. I'll actually get in my car and actually do physical pop-ins and meet clinic managers and oncologists and DVMs that are on site at the clinic that day. Digital advertising is going to be a big one, which will require, of course, funding. SEM and social media, of course. CRM integration. And to retain existing customers, constant follow-up will be crucial. There's a saying here in the United States, out of sight, out of mind. Follow up, follow up, follow up. As we're doing right now with one of our key accounts, which is Florida Wild.
Next question. Will you be able to come up with a sales process for our company?
Yes. And it will consist of the following. 1, prospecting. That's key. 2, qualifying the customer. 3, obviously a demo. That's the most important thing, getting them engaged. Once you get engaged, and that's when you ask that big question of demonstration. And once they witness a demo, I'd say majority of the time they're pretty sold. 4, evaluation. 5, negotiation. 6, closing. And 7, nurturing the account. Now, nurturing number 7 is the key. And we hear this a lot now from some of DVMs out in the field, and that is Vetiqure brings a very unique way of building relationships that they're not seeing from their current other suppliers. And again, that goes back to the catalog sales company approach. We're not a catalog company. We're a company where if we're developing a relationship with you, we're developing a relationship with you for the long haul. We're there with you from A to Z. We're there with you on the treatments. Our line is open 24/7, which it is right now. So nurturing an account is key, because what that does is it transpires and they talk amongst themselves in the DVM oncology surgery sector and space. That community is very tight. It's very small.
And in terms of team members, how many can you manage at a time?
In my previous life, as a senior business development banking manager back in Canada, I had close to around 50 to 75 business developers under my belt. Of course, those were 10, 15 years ago. So your patience was not as tolerable as it was more tolerable then than it is now. But to answer your question, anywhere between 50 to 75 is a reasonable number.
The strategy of only having Florida Wild as a reference clinic, is it the right strategy? And when do you expect the sales of units?
Of course not. Florida Wild, we've been lucky enough with Florida Wild to have brought them on. We have been fortunate with Dr. Pamela Schrager to have now started to see tremendous success in her first 2 cases, which the market will soon hear. But Florida Wild, Jonathan, as I'm sure you have done your homework, is part of a much bigger picture. It's part of MVP, Mission Veterinary Partners, which own close to 375 clinics. And I was told by this time next year, they should be at 410 clinics. That in itself, from what I was told this week, Dr. Pamela Schrager is going to be, and already has planted the seed with her regional managers and national managers to get Vetiqure into at least a minimum to 20 to 25 clinics within the next 12 months. So yes, Florida Wild took us a year, but can we be realistic? What company thrives after the first year? Statistics show it takes 2 to 3 years at a minimum, for any company to be healthy and be able to stand on its 2 feet. But thankfully, we've again been fortunate enough. Our first client, Florida Wild, is going to take us to heights at a very quick time.
Next question is very specific, but according to Dr. Brooke Fowler, there is only one clinic in Colorado that uses electrochemotherapy. When is Vetiqure in Colorado, or which state will buy the next unit, do you think?
So I've done some homework regarding Colorado State. They do have an ECT device. And from what I understand from some of my internal contacts, they're not happy. And I'll leave it at that. The next state, Jonathan, we foresee is most likely going to be, I have to name more than one state. New Orleans, Chicago, New York, and Louisville, Kentucky. And if all goes as planned, as per our strategy, we are hoping the next 45 to 60 days to at a minimum have 3 to 4 devices placed at new clinics.
So final question then. In your opinion, what makes Vetiqure a better option for treating tumors as opposed to other alternatives on the market?
So this is not my opinion. This is the opinion of Dr. Pamela Schreger as quoted from her. And we wanted this answer to come from a key opinion leader for Vetiqure and somebody who's in the field using our device. She quotes, "I have never used other devices, but reports suggest that other devices cause more damage to normal, healthy tissue." This is key. Whereas TSC spares normal tissue, normal, healthy tissue, reducing morbidity. If a tumor is operable, that is typically the best option. But many are not operable and not exceptionally responsive to traditional chemotherapy. A great example is oral tumors or tumors on the distal limb. TSC provides an excellent treatment option for those patients. Radiation may not be an option, but can be more expensive and create more damage to normal tissue. Radiation in veterinary patients is generally less available and further away from most. We have much higher compliance with the therapy we can provide in our hospital, which is the Vetiqure device. That, keep in mind, is being quoted from somebody who's been in this space for over 30 years, somebody who teaches and lectures at Texas A&M University, who, from what I was told by her yesterday, already sent an email to her colleagues at Texas A&M Oncology Department and trying to get us into that university, which hopefully will be our first university for Vetiqure. Dr. Schreger, Jonathan, comes with extensive contacts in this field. And she is, in my opinion, our guardian angel at the moment.
Danny, thank you very much for taking the time here. I hope that we will get to see you soon again with another update. And hopefully we'll have some new distributors going there in the US very shortly. But we look forward to getting a catch up here in the near future again.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. It was a great pleasure.
Thank you.